Welcome, everybody. Are you scared to start writing your book? Is that what's holding you back? Fear, anxiety, life circumstances, sadness, grief? Whatever it is, it's time to start writing, and we are going to show you how. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, co-founder of Two
Welcome.
Sisters Writing and Publishing, here with our superstar author, Joanie Lindenmeyer. We go live every Friday to tell you everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote a great book. Welcome, Joanie.
Hi, Elizabeth. Good to see you today. I love Fridays, fun Friday podcasts.
Yes, always fun and informative for all the aspiring authors out there. So, my dear friend said that this would be a good topic because they don't know where to start, because they
Oh,
want to write a book. They have the tremendous, amazing life experience as their content, but life is busy, life is short. There's very little time, and sometimes when we get time, we have no energy left. So, how do you actually start writing and what's holding you back? So, Joni, you actually started writing Nun Better, your best-selling memoir, when you were in the grief of losing Carol. So please talk to me about how did you push through that?
I love that question. And I'm going to see if I can get into it without being emotional. I'm trying to be a little bit just calm about it. When you said the topic today, fear, life circumstances, and breakups. And I thought, breakups. I had the most incredible, phenomenal breakup ever. My honey died. That's like the massive breakup in the world. And if I can get through that, I can get through anything.
Yes,
That's the bottom line. So if
yeah.
you're in a breakup, whether it's a actual death or it's a living death, if you can get through that, you can write a book
Hmm.
because you can do it. You can do it because that's the hardest thing on the planet is
Hmm.
to get through a breakup or a death. So how did I do that? A lot of it was, like I say, I have 5 tips. I
Five
even wrote down
tips. All
5 tips.
right.
So I'm going to
Okay.
tell you the 5 tips and then I'll come back and we can discuss. Okay.
Five. Okay.
5 tips. First one, positive self-talk. Positive self-talk. I'll come back to that one. Second tip, set dates along your journey with a coach.
Yes.
Okay. Third tip, one bite of the elephant at a time.
Yes.
Break it into projects or little things. Okay. One
Hmm.
bite of the elephant. Okay. So far we have 3:
Hmm.
positive self-talk, set dates with a coach along the way,
Hmm.
bite of the elephant at a time. Number 4, read your why every day. And number 5, have fun by setting a daily and weekly schedule.
Love that. Okay.
Those are my 5 tips.
All
Okay.
right.
All
Those are
right.
awesome. So
So
let's
I'm
start
going
with
to
the
jump in
first.
with my prop.
Okay.
Okay. I had so much fun hearing about your prop when you put sage on your hands and you
Yeah.
sniffed it.
The
Okay, I
oil.
thought that was absolutely hilarious. And people, if you haven't seen that podcast, you need to go into, was it Discipline? I think it was under Discipline, the podcast under
Mhm.
Discipline. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
I think so.
Okay. So my prop today is frankincense.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Frankincense.
So
And
here.
frankincense
Mm.
is vitality.
Oh, so if you're listening
Vitality.
to this, Joni's holding up a little bottle of frankincense essential oil. And essential
Yes,
oils all have qualities that can help us, and she's saying it's for vitality. She's smelling it. It's probably
I'm
smelling.
smelling it. And what I do is I get a little sore and tight on my shoulders. So I
Mhm.
rub it in on there because when I'm sitting at the computer or I'm jotting down things that I want to go in the book, shoulders sometimes get a little tight and tense. So
Uh-huh.
that's where
Uh-huh.
that goes.
I love it.
So,
I
so
love it.
those are my 5. So let's go to self-talk. Do you want to talk about that one first?
Self-talk is everything because if you tell yourself you can't, and you won't. If you tell yourself you can, regardless, you're going to do it. Somehow you're going to find a way. So yeah, please talk to me about self-talk.
And I say, and literally I say it out loud, Elizabeth, I can do this. I got this. this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm amazing. I
Uh-huh.
love to write. And I'm
Yeah.
not making these things up. They're true. They're
Hmm.
honest, of course,
Hmm.
but that self-talk and I talk out loud all the time. So my plants and my outside yard, they hear me all the time talking out loud. But that self-talk is so important. And even to say, Joni, you're the best. Elizabeth, you're the best. Whatever your name is, just say that. I never said I was a best-selling author. That took me a while to say that one. But I could always say when I was writing or thinking about writing, it's like, I can do this. I can absolutely do this. I hand
Yes.
out business cards. I tell
Yes.
people I'm writing a book.
Right. Right. Right.
Go tell someone to write a book. Go tell somebody you're writing a book. Email
Mhm.
somebody. I'm going to text somebody right now, and they're going to be so jazzed when I tell them I'm writing a book. So all
Yes.
this self-talk is super, super important.
Yes. And when you share it with other people, it gets magnified, amplified. So I walk around my house by myself saying, I am New York Times bestselling author Elizabeth Ann Atkins. I just declare it
Mm,
constantly. And I know
awesome.
it's going to happen, period. Period. There's no other voice in my head. It's all, yes, it will happen. It's only a matter of time and the right book. That it could be one of the many, many books I've already written where people just kind of discover it. That's happened for a lot of authors. Some of the most popular books out there just sat there for years, like stagnant, and then somebody picked it up. Oprah, President Clinton, those stories happen, and then it's just in the world spotlight, and boom, you're a best-selling author in the New York Times, which is the pinnacle in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
okay, self-talk has to be
Okay.
positive with an I can do it spirit. What's the next one, Joanne?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Okay. Number two was set dates by and have a coach follow your coach. So
Okay.
2 points there. Have a coach first off who can guide you along your journey, which is
Uh-huh.
super, super important because I didn't know anything about this. And
Mhm.
folks out there, if I can do it, you can do it.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. If I can do it, you can do it, literally. But have a coach and have that coach guide you on your progress along the way. And so that means to set dates. I loved setting the end date of when I wanted to complete it. That was really powerful for me. And when I set it, I put it on the calendar and I've got little spikes and sunshines and smiley faces all over that on my calendar. So I knew when it was. And it
Mhm.
wasn't a calendar where you couldn't see it because it's going to be, for me, it was months later. Yours might be months or years later, but you
Mhm.
have to be able to see that visually. So
Mhm.
in my office, I had all kinds of stuff up on the wall of post notes and papers and things that I just drew that said, I can do this. I am doing this. It'll be done by this date, which was December 13th. And so set the dates that are important for you. And then I remember Coach Elizabeth and Coach Catherine said, well, when are you going to celebrate it? When are you going to launch it? And I'm thinking, oh, is that what you do? Oh, a party. Okay, a party. And so I picked a very significant day for our party, which was March 19th, which was St. Joseph Day, because that's the day Carol and I made our vows. And that's just the day that that's our divine day. And so find out in your own heart, when would you like to have that day? June 1st, we picked for Joyously Free because of Pride. And then we picked October 1st and 3rd, third when you came, first one over in Brookings. But that was an important day for us too. But we had those dates of our party dates. We also had the dates of when to complete it, right, Elizabeth?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
absolutely. So when you work with a coach, we create a schedule because when we have a schedule, it creates pressure and it enables you to set small goals, like I'm going to write this much this week or this much every day or whatever every month. And so when you have those small goals and you meet them, it keeps the momentum going and it boosts your confidence that yes, you can do this and it makes you want to keep going. So it's really important. And working with a coach, just like I work with a fitness trainer, because they have an expertise to get the goals achieved the fastest and most efficiently. Whereas if I'm just in there by myself, I might not know the exact things to do to get the most impact out of the workout. Same with writing. You don't just sit there and think if you've never done this before, you're just going to bang out a great book. No, you need guidance, you need clarity, you need focus, you need to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it and who you're doing it for. And a coach, me, I have the intuitive gift of guiding people. Like we'll be on this Zoom call, like authors across America, and all of a sudden they'll tell me something and I'll be like, boom, this is it. And we do their outline in like 30 minutes. Their whole book is outlined after years of total fog in their head of all this information. It is magical, magical. And it's worth the investment that people pay me to be their coach. Because were it not for me, they'd still be sitting there stuck staring at the blank screen.
I love it. I love it. It's like bow down to my coach on that one for sure. For sure, for sure, for
And
sure.
as a sports person, you always reference that you needed a coach to push you in volleyball, basketball, and I mean, and everything else that you did, that your
Hmm.
coach made you better.
Hmm. Hmm. And the openness to listen to the coach. And it may be
Uh-huh.
something different than what you think or what
Uh-huh.
I thought. And I just had to trust, I had to believe that this was the best way. And it worked out. And it's
Yeah.
magical, it's divine, it's the way it is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Number two,
Yes.
Joni.
Okay, number three, one bite of the elephant at a time. And I think you
Oh,
just sort of talked about this, Elizabeth. The momentum. You talked about momentum, and so for myself, to get past the fear that this is a project, the biggest projects I've ever done in my life,
yes.
seriously. And I've done a
Yes.
lot of projects, but this was the biggest, humongous, gargantuan project ever. But to break it down, okay, so this, I'm going to write about this story. I'm going to write about this content, and I literally broke it down to certain things as well as maybe the chapter titles. I remember when you and I were creating the chapter titles for Joyously Free and Healing Religious Hurts, and
Right.
you had a chapter title name and I had a chapter title name, and we collaborated. Super
Yes.
important
Yeah.
collaboration, talk, listen. And we said, well, let's put them in the book. And people love that.
Yeah.
They love it. They go, oh, I can see that one's yours, Joni. That one's Elizabeth. They can tell by our personalities. And
Uh-huh.
that's what made it work.
Right.
So chapter titles, introductions, pictures, all the little things that are one bite of the elephant at a time. And it
Hmm.
doesn't seem so massive.
Yes. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Would
That's
you
perfect.
jump in and talk, please?
Well, you don't get fit overnight. It's one rep at a time. It's one workout at a time. You don't write a book like with by the snap of your fingers. You write word by word. And so that's the metaphoric biting one bite of the elephant at a time. You have to do bit by bit, word by word, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, period. And people can use Chat GPT, but it's not coming from their heart and soul. It's coming from a computer. And so if you want to write your memoir, you have to write it from your heart and soul. And you can only do that story by story, piece by piece, and together. In fact, when I wrote my memoir, God's Answer is No, KNOW,
Hmm.
Lessons from a Spiritual Life,
Hmm.
I didn't write chapters. I wrote scenes. So it was like each scene told a story, and I strung them together in three sections, and that created my memoir. So I love breaking it into small pieces, and readers said they loved the ability to just sort of process one. Like I always say when we were coaching, Joni, you don't
Yes.
eat a bunch of grapes all at once. You eat one grape at a time. You don't eat a loaf of bread like this. You eat a slice or you pull off a piece and you eat it and savor each bite. And writing should be the same way. And then I'm always talking to new authors write these ginormous paragraphs. So I'm always saying you have to let your words breathe. You have to let the dialogue breathe. There needs to be white space around it so that the reader can visually digest and savor each line, each idea. And so presenting it line by line, idea by idea, quote by quote, is what keeps the reader engaged.
Less is more. I think I heard that a
Yes.
trillion times from you.
Yes,
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
yes, yes,
Joni, less is more. Instead of that big
yes,
paragraph, it became one sentence. I'm going, oh,
yes, yes.
really?
Less is absolutely more. Yes. Mm-hmm. All
That's
right.
a good.
Thank you, Joni. What's number four?
Number four was read your why every day. And
Oh,
so, why are you doing this? Which enforces your self talk, it enforces your belief. It just, to me, it spoke volumes when I go, oh, yeah, that's why I'm doing this. And so mine was much more of a bigger picture of, I knew that this was my mission. I knew that Jesus was asking me to do this. I knew that Carol and Jesus were helping me to write it, and the magic would come when I did the computer typing. But it was bigger than just a book. It was, and I don't mean to say that negatively. That's not a negative, but it's just, it was bigger. And so when I read my why every day, it just helped me to focus and calm down and to just sit and believe and just go, this is where I need to be right now today. Even if the weather is crappy, even if my car isn't working, even if I've got to have knee surgery and hand surgery, or there's a family problem, or there's a friendship problem, or something going on, I was able to do that. Would you jump in and add to that?
Yeah, when there's things going on, like when I got my divorce and the things were terrible with my ex-husband who was being super mean to me, I would sit at the computer and it would just be like the screen was dancing. I could not focus. I didn't have any ideas. It was terrible. So those are legitimate times when you just can't write. I couldn't. I journaled to vent my feelings, which ultimately I was able to extract from when I
Mhm.
wrote my memoir. But sometimes we just have to give ourselves grace and just not
Yeah,
write and wait till the storm passes.
yeah,
Because if but you somehow were able to write in the depths of grief over Carol, which is beautiful because sometimes writing can be an escape from the pain. So it just depends on each individual's healing journey on
right,
how they can focus or not. For me, I couldn't. I had to
right.
wait till I had released all that angst, and I had to
And
do a
and for me, the writing was part of the healing.
uh-huh,
It was
uh-huh.
in the writing that my healing was happening. And
Mhm.
even though, man, oh man, sometimes I couldn't even see. There was so many tears and sobs going on and boxes of Kleenex, and I'd snort and blow and throw that off to the side and throw that
Yeah,
Kleenex
yeah.
and type
Uh-huh.
some. Oh my gosh, my fingers and my computer thing. This is,
Uh,
but oh well,
mhm.
but that's how I healed also. And I
Mhm.
thank God that Dan led to Catherine, led to you to do the book, because that was my mode. And I recommend to anybody going through depression or grief or loss that to try to journal, like you just mentioned, try to journal out those feelings and those heart things. Because our hearts are so precious, Elizabeth. My
Yes.
gosh, our hearts are precious.
Yeah.
And love somebody or people or a cause, whatever you're in love with and being loved by. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Sorry,
Aw, it
I just
is.
think
Love is everything.
about.
Love and peace. Yep, that's it. Self-love, first of all, love with God and spirit and nature and love with the people in our lives. We can't say it enough. And just
Mhm,
show it, not just say it. Show it. That means everything.
absolutely.
Speaking of,
Absolutely.
you so kindly sent me this beautiful gift, custom made. It's the Egyptian goddess of writing, Sishat, who I mention in my goddess book. And there's earrings which are ankhs. And this necklace is just beautiful. That's her. She was a scribe and she was a woman way back in ancient Egypt. And she's credited with inventing writing. A woman. How powerful is that? So thank you for this beautiful book anniversary gift to celebrate the release of my Goddess Power book, Joni. I appreciate that.
Right. You betcha. You
It's
betcha. Oh,
thoughtful.
I'm glad you like it. And I think that's just part of that precious heart, that to give a gift or to give a smile or to give a hug or whatever it is, it comes back a thousandfold. But to be able to say that to somebody, thank you. Thank you for being in my life. And Elizabeth, thank you for being in my life. Oh my, I've been saying that all the time with my sister Gail. I'm hanging out with her for a while. And I'm just,
Oh,
oh, it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. And I love you, Gail, and I thank you so
oh,
much. And, just all these wonderful things, just
uh-huh.
wonderful things. Yep.
That's
So
awesome.
good.
I
I'm glad you like that. I'm glad you like
I
that.
love it.
So
It's beautiful. I keep it on my desk so I can see it all the time. Thank
nice,
you.
nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice.
Mhm.
Okay. So related to that, let's see. I have number five, number five. And I did these high fives because I'm all into very physical kind of things. So
Yeah.
high fives, high fives. Okay. My last one is set a day and weekly schedule And then I have next to that, that's the excitement. And then I have business cards. So
Okay.
one of the things that I did in setting my day schedule, my weekly schedule of writing, was also the excitement of telling people and handing them a card that said, "I'm writing a book." Do you
Yes.
remember my
Yes.
business
Yes.
card?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Uh-huh.
And so anyway, that was part of it. But to set a daily schedule or a weekly schedule, whatever works in your life, when you're going to write, when you're going to write, how long you're going to write for. You know, if you have 10 minutes to write, that's what you're doing. If you have half an hour, if you've got 2 or 3 or 4 hours, I mean, that's your schedule. That's your schedule. But to have that, and I liked it by the week, Elizabeth, because that way, if other things, and they did, other things came up, I needed to be able to have the time to go to do that. You know, and it doesn't mean that that took over my life. My writing was my number one priority because I had that final date on it and I was going to get that thing done. Your book coaching said 6 months. And I said, forget that. I'm doing it in 5, you know,
Yes.
because yeah, I wanted that extra. If I needed an extra month, I would. And we did because I wrote too much. And then you said, you've got to edit, you've got to cut 234 pages, Joni. And so then it took me another month to, do you remember this?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I
So
do
anyways,
remember it was a lot of work, but you did a great job.
thank you. Thank you. But set that daily schedule, set that weekly schedule. And again, it's excitement. Tell people what you're doing.
Yes, 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 yes. A schedule is so important. Just yesterday, my sister and our project manager went over my schedule and blocked out all the time commitments I have each week for appointments and different things for writing and publishing and editing and et cetera, coaching. And it shows you how finite our time is. It's very limited. And you think you have all this time, but when you look at it on a calendar blocked off, you're like, oh, wow. So I had to designate specific blocks for writing, specifically for writing, because that takes tremendous focus. I need solitude and stillness and just to be totally focused and get my 8 hours of sleep. It's a whole routine that's around the ability to create like that in my genius zone. So yeah, scheduling is really important, really, really important.
Yes. So those were my 5 tips. Let me hear, because you said that the topic was what things stop a person from starting to write and how to overcome them. Comes to your mind.
Well, like I said, if you're going through something that's just an overwhelming life experience, like having a new baby or suddenly having to take care of an aging or ill parent, those are things where it's just like, forget about it. You're just not going to
Mm-hmm.
be able to write. Just wait until the storm passes and then write. However, there are one of the biggest blocks I see as a coach is that people don't know where to start. They feel overwhelmed, so they procrastinate. The book never gets written. Unfortunately, I've seen several people who'd asked me about writing and then they die and their book never gets written, or they get dementia and they can't write. So a lot of it is just this anxiety and fear around where do I start? I'm not a professional writer. Will it be good enough? What do I include? Who's this for? How do I publish? It's just this mysterious experience that seems so
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming and nebulous that people just don't do it. But
Yeah.
that's the beauty of having a coach is that I guide you step by step by step until it is done. And the initial moment of clarity is the most magical time because the author, again, comes to me with this massive information in their head. It's been there for years. They feel frustrated, guilty, maybe even ashamed that they haven't done it yet, especially if
Oh,
they've been talking about writing a book. And then suddenly they start. And like we'll have one session and they'll be the next session, they'll be like, I've been writing for 2 weeks straight. I'm so excited to do this finally. And so it's really, really important to get help.
yes.
Get help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Joni,
You
I
know,
know.
and I was thinking back when my very first time of when I found my book of what Carol and I were going to start as our writing. And I remember going to the prayer corner and just asking, Jesus, God, Carol, should I write this book? I think that was my moment of clarity when I got the answer. Because once I got that answer, I knew what I was supposed to do. I
Mhm.
knew it,
Mhm.
and maybe somebody out there might have the same kind of experience. You just know. When you know, you know.
When you know, you know. I love that. I love that.
Hmm.
You know, it's
Hmm.
time. It's really, really
Hmm.
time. I'm working with several authors who are in that position, publishing, and I'm also teaching people how to publish themselves on Ingram Spark, which is exciting because they become their own publishers and they just feel like the time is right. They've gone through different things that held them back from writing or publishing, and it's so common for people to write a book and then like just sit on it for 10 years. Yes, that's very common. And then finally they're like, enough is enough. I'm ready. Let's do this. So I'm delighted to
Yeah.
help people in that regard too. So if you are out there aspiring authors and you need help, please go to twosisterswriting.com. I would love to schedule a discovery call with you so that we can talk about how I can help you as a coach. And so you can finally get that book written and published and out in the world like None Better, Joyously Free, Healing Religious Hurts, and all the other books we've done here at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. So please go to twosisterswriting.com. You can see the bookstore with None Better, Joyously Free, and Healing Religious Hurts, the latter that Joni and I did together. Really powerful books. And Pride is coming up next month. So Joyously Free should be in the spotlight once again. Yes? Yes.
Yes, 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 totally. Oh my gollies.
That's very exciting. And so, all of you out there, stop being scared, get help, follow all these 5 tips, share this with anybody who is trying to write a book but doesn't know how to start, especially if they feel blocked by fear. And you can find Joni at Joanie Lindenmeyer on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And you can reach me at twosisterswriting.com. Any final words, Joni?
Nope. Just a beautiful podcast today. And I
All
wish I
right.
had had something like this.
Oh,
Think
right,
about it. I wish I had
right.
had something like this. So I
Yes.
really hope it's working for everybody else. So,
Yes. Well, we're going on 2 years of doing this every Friday.
oh my
So
gosh.
I know, right? So let's just encourage everybody. Look at the whole playlist because we've covered everything from A to Z and always come up with new things every week. So this podcast is for you to write, publish, and promote a great book. It's free, and we're excited to share all that we know.
Yes,
Yep.
totally. Thank you,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, for doing these and for inviting me and for having me be a part of this. I just think it's so
Yes.
awesome.
It's
Thank you.
amazing. You're such a gift, Joni, to me, to Two Sisters, and to the world. So keep on doing your thing.
All right. And you too. And you too.
Thank you, Joni, and thank
Okay.
you, all of you. We wish you happy reading and happy writing, and we'll see you next week.
You bet. Bye. Big hug.